Hey everybody, Matt Johnston here, and we're back. And yes, we're still talking about COVID. So let's talk a little bit about COVID. So before we get started, please click the subscribe button that you see down below. Click the bell if you want to get notices of when we post new content. And yeah, so let's talk a little bit about COVID vaccines and what employers can ask if you are considering a vaccine mandate in your workplace. So, if you are an employer that is considering a vaccine mandate, one of the most common questions that I'm getting right now, then you need to consider what things you can ask employees. So, let's get the easy ones out of the way. Yes, you can ask employees if they are vaccinated. Yes, you can ask employees to produce records of vaccination. So, the vaccine card, something from their doctor that says they've been vaccinated. Okay? If you collect that information, it needs to be held separately from the rest of the employee files in a nice secure file so that it doesn't get out. It is personal health information and it's protected under a whole bunch of statutes, but just from a matter of privacy. If somebody is claiming a medical exemption, can you ask questions about that? Yes, you can. You can ask for some sort of certification from their physician or medical care provider that says this person should not get a vaccine for whatever reason that may be. Again, you can ask the employee to provide that documentation, and again, you must maintain that documentation in a separate secure filing space. What if somebody asks for an accommodation based upon a sincerely held religious belief? Okay, you can ask them if they are doing so on a sincerely held religious belief. You may ask them about what that belief is, but this is an area where it's probably a good idea to consult counsel and have a conversation with people before you start going down that road. There are, and I've talked about this in other videos, there are scams going around. Well, I really shouldn't call them scams. There are things going around on the internet where somebody can get a package of information that would provide the documentation for a sincerely held religious belief. What if somebody is requesting an accommodation to not get vaccinated for another reason? You can ask for that reason. But you're going to have to be very, very careful in this realm as well. The sad fact is vaccinations, vaccination programs, vaccination mandates, these things are intensely political and intensely personal. And so you're likely to run into a fair amount of, well, that's none of your damn business. In which case, you need to have a plan for dealing with that kind of response. Can you ask somebody to, if they choose not to get a vaccine, can you ask them to get a regular negative COVID test? Yes, you may. You may ask them to provide that documentation. You could do this weekly, like the federal government is planning to do. You could do this bi-weekly, monthly, whatever reasonable rate that you choose. Asking somebody to do it every single day, not a good idea, but you can ask on a regular basis. You can ask screening questions when somebody comes into work. So if somebody's coming into your facility, you can ask a series of screening questions that we've all sort of experienced at some point. Are you having symptoms of fever or other sort of COVID-related symptoms? Have you been around people who've been diagnosed with COVID or been exposed to COVID? Do you have a temperature today? These kinds of questions can be asked. You can collect a questionnaire every single day. You can take people's temperatures when they come into the facility. All of these things are permissible. Okay? The difficult situation that employers are going to start facing is what do they do when employees decide that they are not going to comply with a vaccine mandate? And that's something you definitely want to consult counsel before you start terminating employees. So be very careful, be very mindful of that activity. So if you're unsure of other questions that you can ask, you really should consult legal counsel. How you doing? And we can come up with a plan of action for you in your particular situation and in your particular workplace. In the meantime, if you'd like to schedule a consultation, there's a link down below in the show notes that you can do that. And go out and watch some live soccer. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.